Hey Evie, you didn't say this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and welcome to a very special episode of the Weekly Reset, Taliesin and Evitel's Wondrous Wisdom Show, a pre-BlizzCon special. No more beating around the bush, fam, because in a few days' time, we will know the next World of Warcraft expansion. We will know the future plans for World of Warcraft Classic. We will have been uber hyped by Chris Metzen himself, and basically, WoW will be saved. You're gonna love it now. So a big chunk of this episode is going to be taken up by Evitel and me getting off the fence and putting down in stone our final predictions for those WoW announcements, what we think the new expansion will be, and yes, it is likely that some very convincing supposed leaks that keep on happening might well factor into those predictions too. We'll also be putting together our BlizzCon announcement bingo card to play along with. As it happens, something we'll be doing live on stream from the BlizzCon floor, as we have a streaming slot that starts at the same time as the opening ceremony. So if watching a pair of extremely tired but extremely excited, wide-eyed innocent things be completely wrong about everything in real time is your kind of thing, please join us for that. So this is what the episode looks like. A bit of talk about the rather surprising structure of BlizzCon itself, a sneaky look at the very latest compelling leaks, then bingo card and prediction time with the two of us. It seems very strange to think that the last time a proper, live, in-person BlizzCon happened, it was the BlizzCon that Shadowlands was announced at, the BlizzCon that Diablo 4 was announced at, the BlizzCon where we hosted the WoW Q&A with Evitel on stage, heavily pregnant with our now almost 4-year-old son. The world has been through some pretty bleak times since then and still hasn't fully recovered. World of Warcraft has gone through probably its lowest times ever since then and still hasn't recovered. So this first BlizzCon back is exciting for the reasons it always is: big announcements and reveals and interviews and cosplay, and for ones lucky enough to be there, the chance to see in real life people you usually only get to hang out with online. But I think it's fair to say that this year's event is also important in a much more symbolic way, a sign that things are getting back to normal in some small sense, a chance of having a proper celebration of a game and community that we love, rather than it be something that we just argue about on Twitter. Basically what I'm saying is, after 4 years, we deserve a party. We deserve to feel good about the community and the game. So Blizz better not f it up with some lame-ass announcement. And how could they, right? When Chris Metzen himself is back in the fold to deliver it. And let's be honest, the next expansion could be World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Half-Baked Rush Job bullshit, and it would probably sound good with Metzen announcing it. But both Chris and Blizzard leader Mike Ybarra have been bigging up the WoW BlizzCon announcement so much on social media in the last few weeks that most people, quite understandably, have got the impression that this year's reveals will be more significant than the standard World of Warcraft expansion. And whether that is the case or not, and I genuinely try not to have huge expectations about these things, but I do definitely agree with that general sentiment that Chris and Mike have given the impression there's something special coming, and I can't blame people for going along with that. So the question is, what constitutes a bigger than usual expansion announcement? What fits that criteria? In my mind, there are 3 things that could. 1, we could be talking a full world revamp, something lots of people are convinced is going to happen. 2, we could be talking some majorly significant new feature like player housing. Or 3, the option I find most likely personally, we could be talking an earlier than expected new expansion, with it looking increasingly unlikely that Dragonflight will extend into a 10.3 patch, despite an encrypted 10.25 build being on the PTR now, presumably waiting to go live a week or so after 10.2. I feel like the stage could well be set for a surprise 11.0 release in the first half of 2024. Or whatever it turns out to be, it does have to be big. I think a standard WoW expansion reveal is probably going to be a bit of a disappointment for much of the community after this much build-up. And speaking of BlizzCon disappointment, let's take a look at the schedule for the event, which is much more streamlined than in previous years, mostly because whereas BlizzCon has traditionally been more like the world's geekiest music festival, with numerous different panels happening constantly across multiple different stages, meaning there was always a choice to make between seeing the Overwatch What's Next on the main stage, or the WoW PvP finals in the arena, or going to watch a panel about the philosophy of StarCraft rock design in the Dark Moon Fair. In 2024, there is only one stage, and therefore much fewer panels with a much narrower scope. WoW Retail and Classic seem to be doing pretty well out of the schedule. Any big expansion reveals would come in the opening ceremony, which you can watch with us when we stream it from the show floor, don't know if I mentioned that. And then there's a full What's Next panel for each, as well as a WoW deep dive on the Saturday. There's a community night which will give you all the cosplay fun you'd expect, but there is no room for some other stalwarts, some favourites like a voice acting panel, or a cinematics panel, or even the World of Warcraft Q&A. And that's not just a shame, that's actually kind of weird. Obviously, I have skin in this game because, of course, Evie and I were hosts of what now looks maybe to be the last ever live WoW Q&A, which I think we've got a clip of somewhere. Actually, sorry, can we find a clip of that WoW Q&A that we hosted? Just a completely random clip, random one. Have we got any of those?
So, Steve. Yeah. Are you saying that Taliesin was right all along?
That's what I heard, too. Taliesin was right.
Are you saying that's canon?
Well,
Could you repeat that again? I don't think he heard it.
Thanks, Steve.
as much as it pains me to do something that makes you happy, Taliesin.
Yeah, so just a completely random clip there to remind you of what the WoW Q&A is like at BlizzCon, but not this year. Instead, congoers can submit their questions for a pre-recorded Wowcast, which will air a week later and serve as the Q&A. A completely understandable decision that makes BlizzCon leaner, more focused, and more fun than ever before. And that's not my words, that's the words of the forums, who all agreed this was a great move that, if anything, would actually result in better, more considered questions being asked, and better answers from devs who are more comfortable. And isn't that the most important thing? That's better for everyone in... No, it's a shit show, obviously. Cowards! This is damage control. Gonna screen every single question and only let the devs answer softballs. Complete cowardice. Insanely massive L. Do you not have phones? Must have had a huge impact on them. No more hard questions or memes for these fishers. This last one is a pretty common view, that Blizzard have cancelled the WoW Q&A because they're scared of difficult questions. Like the whole, is this an early April Fool's joke? You guys all have phones stuff, you know? And I totally see why people might think that, and I'm not saying they're wrong because I don't know, but it feels fitting at this point to share an insider story here. When we hosted the WoW Q&A, the year after you guys all have phones, right? It was the height of the Hearthstone Hong Kong scandal. And in the last meeting that we had before the event, I literally asked, like, what do you want us to do if someone comes up to the mic, ignores their approved question, because all questions are pre-approved, they always have been, and asks about Hong Kong or something instead? And the Blizz guy I asked flat out said, if someone asks a question, put it to the panel. It's a Q&A. The devs are there to answer questions and they'll just have to deal. So all I can say is that in my personal experience, which I think is pretty relevant, I don't think there's no live Q&A because Blizz are scared of anything. I think it really is just because there's not enough time, what with there only being one stage for panels. But please do not mistake that for me saying it's a good decision, okay? It sucks there's no WoW Q&A. That shit is a staple of the BlizzCon experience. Almost certainly you're going to end up with better questions and more questions and better answers by having it a week later on the Wowcast, but I don't care about that. I want to see Shadowstalker XX spend 3 minutes shouting out his guildies in orgasm face on Airy Peak before asking Ian Hazakostis why trolls can't have green fingernails. There is nothing more BlizzCon than that, and I need it. So yeah, bad decision in my opinion, and maybe I'm just getting old and hate change, but I feel like the whole schedule just seems a bit weird and streamlined this year. I don't know, ask me what I think when I get back, I guess. Leaks! It is now just days before the event, which is the time we would fully expect real-life, genuine leaks for whatever the next WoW expansion will be to surface. This is the time frame when the Bolvar image surfaced from the Shadowlands cinematic. Past precedent dictates that this is the time when something will be leaked by some third-person contractor working at some random company that is installing banners or lights or merchandise to the Anaheim Arena. We will almost certainly see a real leak this week. The question is, will we recognize it when we do? Because fake leakers also know this is when the real leaks happen and go into overdrive themselves with the pretend stuff, something which has never been easier or more convincing with the access to AI that we all now have. Chances are something will come up while we are recording and editing this video, but the current most popular frontrunner is the Storms of Avaloren leak with its supposed slides from the features trailer, giving us lightning stone dwarf griffin riders, the Avaloren continent, and like everything else the community has already decided the new expansion will be about. We've done a really close look on this on our second channel, Taliesin and Evitel's second channel, which now has 30,000 subs. Thank you very much. But the TLDR is that it might be real, obviously, because frankly, we are into the time frame where anything might be real and it would be foolish to discount it. But my gut feeling is that Storms of Avaloren is fake. It just seems a bit too conveniently made up of stuff people already expect. And the slides are missing stuff which would definitely be in the features trailer and make way more interesting slides to leak, but which would also be harder to fake, like shots of the main city, or indeed any town or buildings, and of course the new expansion logo. I fully expect something even more compelling to hit in the coming days.
Good way to stay up to date with that, try the excellent Wowhead articles that we've linked in the description below, covering topics that we talk about in this video and new stuff that has cropped up while we're on the plane though.
But in the meantime, we'll just have to make do with our official final predictions and BlizzCon Bingo card. Here it is, Evie.
It's coming.
It's BlizzCon time.
It is time.
It's almost here. And I mean, you know, just the madness trying to get this video done and out there before we go, because this is the most important part of the entire video.
It is because I'm here.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yes, there is. The important thing is our predictions about what the WoW announcements are actually going to be at BlizzCon.
Yep.
And what the new expansion is going to be.
Do you have some ideas, Tally?
I've got some ideas. We made a video about this 6 months ago.
I know. I was going to say, this feels like deja vu. I feel
Yeah.
like we've been here. We've laid it all out on the table.
We were sitting differently. We had a much more formal setup, and I gave some predictions, which I think it was like Return to the Forbidden Reach at the time. But to help us with this prediction bit, we've enlisted the help of our BlizzCon Bingo 2023 announcement card.
My favorite bingo.
Specifically for World of Warcraft and specifically for retail World of Warcraft,
Yes.
because we don't want to get into the whole classic thing. Classic plus some new season, whatever.
You
man,
can
yeah.
only predict so much correctly.
Exactly.
You know?
There weren't
Like-
enough squares for all of the correct WoW Classic predictions as well. But I feel like I want to say we filled up our squares here with things that I don't necessarily think are going to happen.
Okay.
This is like a bingo card. So even if I'm wrong, there'll be things on here that we can tick off.
Oh, so
when
these-
we're watching it live.
Okay.
Because let's remind everyone that we will be watching the opening ceremony live from the show floor.
Like at BlizzCon.
We've got a streaming slot at BlizzCon, which starts at the exact same time as the opening ceremony starts. So please join us for that, and we can watch all the announcements together. We'll have the bingo card up. You can all
Exactly.
laugh at us being wrong in real time.
So that'll be on our Twitch,
11 a.m. PST.
PST, California time.
That's
Los
right.
Angeles time.
That's correct. So this collects together some things that I think might happen and some things that, you know, the general community at large seems to think might happen. We've got Storm Dwarves
Okay,
up in
that's
the
fair.
left-hand corner here. I think that's a pretty much given. That's almost
Yep.
like a free square in many ways.
Yep.
But maybe not. Maybe everyone's completely wrong about this.
Loads of other things point to this happening.
Oh, you
This
believe
is-
that leak, don't you?
I kind of do.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We have new Drakthir classes. So that's Drakthir being able to play as, you know, like hunters or warriors or things like that.
Oh.
So not just being limited to evokers. It's opening up Drakthir to other things. Sorry if you can hear the drilling from the builders downstairs. There's not much we can do about that. We're going
Nope.
away in a couple of days. We need to get our bathroom finished. New playable race.
Oh.
So I know you
no.
don't think that's going to happen?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
We just got Drakthir.
Yeah, exactly. But imagine an expansion with no new playable race or new playable class. Do you know what expansion that is, Evie?
Which one is that?
That's WoD.
Oh.
That's WoD right there. And
but
also
WoD was
Shadowlands.
cool.
That's
Oh.
WoD and Shadowlands. Do you really
Yeah.
want WoD and Shadowlands? Do you think that Blizz is going to be sitting there going, you know what we need? We need another expansion like WoD and Shadowlands. That's how we get the players
No new
back.
playable races. Do Storm Dwarves count as a new playable race?
Well, I mean, if they're playable,
yes, Evitel.
Okay.
Beyond the Western Storms,
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some leaks that look pretty convincing that contradict this.
Oh, really?
To be honest, yeah, but I can't see us not going beyond the Western Storms at this point. Thrall featuring heavily in the cinematic trailer.
Bold.
Well, he's just everywhere on the key art.
He is.
And I know it kind of links in with Metzen and things like that.
The grand
But,
return,
I mean,
right?
yeah, I mean, if there is storms and stuff like that, that's very shamanistic. You know, that's very elemental. And it
Oh,
would
you're
be very fitting for Thrall to be a major character in that cinematic.
I think you might be right.
Gilneas.
Oh, okay. Where is this coming from?
I don't know,
Yeah.
man. Whether Gilneas is like revamped
Just there,
or, you know,
or-
features as part of the story, or, you know, lots of people talk about Gilneas the same as they do every single expansion. Literally every single expansion. You know, there are some that I could have literally just lifted whole cloth from bingo cards of many years past. A new player experience.
Oh, okay. A new player
A
experience.
new player experience. So
Okay.
I don't know what that would be. I don't think they'll do anything to Exile's Reach.
Okay.
But, you know, something with Chromie time and, you know, like, you know how like our Path of the Curator thing or something like that? Or maybe
Yeah,
something
okay.
completely different. I don't know.
Adventure mode,
Yeah,
right,
we'll put
okay.
that in. I'm going to be
Okay.
pretty forgiving with my definition of that when it pops up, I think.
Okay.
Dragon Racing pre-purchase. Let me explain this one to
Please
you.
do.
Because this one is very specific. This
Okay.
actually does relate to a genuine, very specific prediction that I have. Okay. So I think, do you remember when there was that Shadow, and I have said this on videos before, but do you remember when there's that Shadowlands pre-purchase that was available, like, you know, straight away when they announced it? It was like, and also pre-purchase. And it came with a mount.
Yeah.
And when you got on that mount,
The ensorcelled one.
that's right,
Yeah.
the kind of
Love
mana
that
worm
word.
thing.
Yeah.
And when you got on that mount, it gave you a quest to like collect a gabillion anima
Loved that stuff.
from mobs in BFA. And
love
when you
quests
collected
like
a
that.
gabillion anima, you got that really cool transmog, which is a bit like
So
someone from
good.
Oribos sort of thing.
So cool.
The gloves of which the gloves have shoulder pads on, like glowing shoulder pads. The best gloves like in the game.
Okay,
like
they're
they're
pretty
so
good.
good.
They're
They
pretty
fit for so
good.
many different transmogs. But I think there's gonna be something exactly like that.
Okay.
I think when they announce this new expansion, whatever it's going to be, I think there is going to be a pre-purchase event that you get access to when you pre-purchase the new expansion.
Okay, instantly available.
Yeah, and I
right?
think it's going to be dragon racing
Okay.
through various storm-themed zones. So Storm Peaks, Stormheim, any other place with storms in it, right?
Ooh.
All you're going to have to do is complete the races, and that will unlock a transmog or a mount or something like that, which will be like the pre-purchase transmog or pre-purchase mount.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. I think I'm with you for most of this. I think there's going to be a pre-purchase thing that happens that you get. I don't think it's going to be dragon racing.
Really?
Yeah, because I still feel like that it can be like slightly inaccessible for some people.
Well, so it wouldn't be like you even have to get bronze or gold
Okay,
or
you
anything
just
like that.
have to
You
do
just
it.
have to complete the course.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And obviously then bronze and gold and silver and stuff would be available. But,
Okay.
you know, for people who want to do
maybe.
it. So that's my like super specific prediction.
very niche, yeah.
Yeah, and I put
I
it
like
in.
it.
I put it in the bingo card because I'm pretty confident about it. New support specs.
Oh,
what do you think about that? Eh?
Was augmentation not enough for you?
I mean, to be honest with you, augmentation is more than enough for me. I feel they either have to kind of scrap the whole support spec thing completely,
Or go for it.
or like they're gonna have to introduce some new ones.
Bard?
So,
Is it time for a bard?
God, I love a bard. What class would you give bard to? If it had to be a spec in an existing class, what would you have?
I guess a rogue?
Yeah, I guess so too.
It would have to be
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like...
I think it fits.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
adding a bard spec to rogue could be pretty fun.
Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty cool. Player housing, another one that we can just have there
Oh,
every
yeah.
single
Every year.
year, basic boats.
Oh, is this combined with player housing? Is the player housing on the boats?
I think if we have player housing that also turns out to be boats, we get two squares ticked off there.
Nice.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you know, like boats. I mean, like boats is a major feature of the expansion. So
Oh,
whether that be,
right,
like,
okay.
a new way of traversing.
Yeah.
I've got a sneaky suspicion. I don't have a suspicion at all. What I would do, especially if I was having like an exploration kind of expac, which is what I do expect it to be like beyond the Western Storms and stuff, then I would be racking my brains right now if I was a dev as to recreate how awesome dragon riding is and have like another form of traversal
But in the water.
which also gamifies traversal and makes it its own gameplay thing in its own right.
Yeah, so
and,
like-
and boats would be the obvious one to do that with.
Navigatable
Yeah, yeah,
boats that
exactly.
you can pilot yourself
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
just like, because the way we think of boats in WoW is just you stand on it.
Exactly.
And wait for the loading screen.
And we used to think of flying as just getting on and just pressing where you want to go. But adding a kind of a mini game to it makes it a much more enjoyable experience. I'd also count submarines as a win for a boat. Anyway, Shaman for all. Now, this could equally be Paladins for all or Druids for all.
Well, it's Shaman.
Yeah, but I mean, it would make more sense for me and everything that's happened already, and what I think the next expansion is going to be for Shaman to be kind of made available for every single race in the game, including I think Drakthir. So that would be another. That would be another.
Well, yeah, because it's all because the elemental dragons, right?
It makes sense, right?
It all fits together.
They've already got the casting animations, the Drakthir. It's all good. Yeah,
they do actually.
We've got a free square in the middle, just
nice.
BlizzCon logo.
Love
nice.
it.
So as long as BlizzCon happens, that one gets ticked off. Still not completely certain. Yeah. New Demon Hunter spec.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So this is something I don't think this is going to happen, but this is something I've heard a lot of people talking about.
Okay.
The world revamp.
Oh. Hey everyone, it's me. It's me being completely 100% normal about BlizzCon being right around the corner. It's totally cool because you know what's keeping me grounded? Knowing that Squarespace has my back and that they're hosting my website safely and securely, and because they're sponsoring today's video, which is frankly really awesome. You know, it's times like this, standing on the cusp of a big trip or important event, when I often think to myself, where is my passport? But more importantly, what am I? When the border control officer asks what my job is, what do I say? Live internet video person? Online video game dabbler? I used to feel weird about using the term creator, but Squarespace actually has loads of creator tools which, 1, are genuinely useful to me, and 2, make me feel like a little less of a fraud about calling myself one. So this is actually pretty cool. Squarespace gives you the full creator package. You can create one central website as a hub for all of your stuff that isn't constrained to one social media platform. You can use Squarespace's really handy e-commerce integrations, which I've talked about before, to sell your wares. And you can follow your successes in real time through their built-in analytics platform. I've never felt more creatory and legitimate than when harnessing the power of Squarespace's creator tools. You know what? I'm gonna look that border control lad or lady right in the eye this time and say, my name is Evitel. Yes, that's my full real name. And I am a creator. And I've got a logo to prove it, which I made using Squarespace's built-in logo creator. How cool is that? Now I've just gotta create something. Listen, while I sort that out, how about you give your own creator skills a spin? Set the groundwork for your internet empire with a free website trial on Squarespace. And when you're ready to scale your biz with a proper creator kit, just go to squarespace.com/Taliesin and Evitel or use code Taliesin and Evitel to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/Taliesin and Evitel. Yeah, that's more like it. Oh
Now,
yeah,
I'm going to
okay.
be pretty forgiving with this one as well. You know, I'll count like one old world continent being revamped as a world revamp.
What about just a zone?
I will not count that as a world revamp.
It's gotta be a continent.
So if it turns out like BFA and it's like Stromgarde and Darkshore and stuff like that, that is not a world revamp. But it needs to be like a proper this whole continent sort of thing, just about. You know, which I'd be down with. There is like a really tantalizing rumor going around right now that we are looking at a Eastern Kingdoms specific revamp. So I'd be really interested to see if that happens. I could actually see that happening, honestly.
Wow.
I was not convinced about a world revamp at all, but since someone has mentioned just an Eastern Kingdoms specific world revamp, I can actually like genuinely see that.
I would really love that.
Yeah, totally. A new profession.
Ooh.
And by new profession, I don't mean, you know, a profession changing a lot. I mean, like literally woodworking or
I
like,
knew you were going to say
woodworking
that.
is the one, right? That's the one that matches up with player housing so well. Like if you were going to make player housing, you'd make a woodworking profession.
Oh my God, I would
so you can make
love
floorboards
that.
and tables and stuff like that, or just prepare wood that other kind of professions can play with.
Right, yeah.
And make
Someone's
use
got to
of.
prepare the wood.
Yeah, you can't just sit on that wood. You've got to give it, you know, hand it out to other people.
Yeah.
Old gods.
Of course.
Okay, I mean speaks for itself,
100%.
right? Totally.
They're there.
Borrowed power back.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so I think this should have happened already. Now, we've had a video about this. Now, you know us, internet. You know, we recognized that Blizz needed to stop doing the whole borrowed power thing, and they did with Dragonflight, and it was really, really good. However,
However, I am personally of the opinion that if they had introduced a mild borrowed power system into 10.2, so it wasn't like an expansion feature, it was a patch feature and a patch like wide feature. If they had introduced some kind of like mini artifact that you could argue they did that with a ring in the Forbidden Reach, but Forbidden Reach was 10.07. The season was all over.
And
I mean, like as a
blew
season
through
feature.
that.
I mean, like as a season feature. So
Okay.
you start it, you're grinding it, go into the raid and stuff like that with it, and you
And
kind
you're
of power
working
up
on it
as
over time.
over time as you're in the raid and stuff like
Okay.
that. I think 10.2 would have been better and more exciting. I think people would be more hyped about 10.2 if they had like a mild borrowed power system in it.
Okay.
And I don't think they will, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them have again a very low key borrowed power system make a return for 11.0.
Very interesting. Maybe it'll be like borrowed power for woodworkers. Right, like you need to level up.
You mean
like,
they can only
your
get their wood up
lathe.
like
Like,
for a little bit at a time? Back to WoW's roots.
Oh, I mean,
Like if people on stage say that,
yeah,
boom.
we're going home.
Early launch. This is another thing that I think could happen. Early launch and 10.3 are probably contradictory to each other. But so I think it's gonna be one or the other, or neither. In fairness, but if there is not a 10.3, which is looking increasingly like there isn't, then maybe they're planning on the next expansion coming out a little bit earlier.
That would feel good.
That would feel like a big thing. That would feel kind of cool. So I'm thinking if it comes out in first half of 2024, then that counts as an early launch, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Summer is like the
I would
cusp.
even count
Okay.
July as
I would. Yeah.
But I think Legion released in August, so I wouldn't count August.
Oh,
But I
okay.
would count July.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Avaloren.
Yeah.
So okay, here's the thing, right? I'm actually going to predict that that Avaloren is not like the continent that we go to.
Okay.
I'm going to predict that the new expansion is not set in Avaloren.
Oh.
Okay. That's. I know. I don't even know why I'm doing this to myself.
Yeah,
I
why
know
are you
all my
doing this?
reputation, but I'm gonna predict that it's not.
Okay.
Because everyone's saying it, and I'm just like, Khazalgar looks certain.
Yes.
And wherever that is and what have you, and that could easily be Avalon. I'm not saying we definitely won't.
Yeah.
I'm just making it part of my prediction that we will, like the new continent or whatever that we go to is not Avaloren.
Okay.
It might be like a different kind of zone off somewhere that you go to, like the or it might appear later on in the expansion or whatever. Next prediction for you, Evitel, an underground zone.
Ooh, is it a dwarven flavored underground?
I mean, that would
zone?
seem likely, right?
Yeah. If it's an underground zone for me, it's gonna have to be like Mines of Moria.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It needs to be like a dwarven city.
And I think that's cool. I think that's what we're going to get. I think we're going to get like exactly a Mines of Moria thing where it's like very 3D and like all that cool dwarven architecture, people on drills downstairs, just like,
Yeah, this is
making noise
for
the whole
flavor.
time. Yeah, this is for flavor
Diggy,
right
diggy
here. Yeah,
holes.
exactly. Yeah,
right.
totally.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, me too.
I'd love
Would you
that.
be down for that?
I would be down all up in that.
Grizzled Anduin.
Oh yeah, because he's been away, hasn't he?
He's been away for a whole ass expansion now, which is definitely enough time for him to age 20 years and get a beard.
Yeah.
I feel
think
like
he's ready.
I
I
feel
think he's
like
ready.
maybe he'll have a scar.
I'm
one of
ready
those
for that.
sexy scars.
Yeah.
Maybe his hair will be a bit shorter or something.
So I mean, I'm into it, but is Twitter ready for this?
I think I don't. Oh, I might
Are
have
they
to
ready
give them a
to
heads up
lose
to like
our beautiful
reinforce their
boy?
servers. Yeah, Game Pass, which is something I don't think will happen.
No,
but everyone's talking about it. because
People
the
love
Xbox
talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll put that on there. Why not? And 10.3. If they announce 10.3, I feel like I'd be very surprised at this point.
Yeah.
But why not? Who knows? Could be part of it, couldn't it?
Why would you put 10.3 in such a strategic box, which could be like either diagonal or like you got to put it somewhere else, man?
I mean, do you want me to swap them around?
No,
okay, look.
No. Look,
I've still got the file open for this. Is there anything you want to add to this bingo card? Anything you'd take away and anything you'd add?
No, I mean the only thing I feel like I've been missing is Khadgar. Like, where's that? Where's our guy?
I feel like we've had Khadgar
We
this
have a
expansion,
little bit.
supposedly. He was in it at some point, I'm sure.
It was so brief.
He
It
very
was so
yeah.
brief. You've kind of covered all of the big stuff, like rumbling around.
Well,
in
we can take out the
community.
free square if you want. We can get rid of that and put anything that you want in there.
I want to keep the free square.
I knew you would.
You gotta keep the.
I've met
free
you. I
square.
know you. I know how it goes. Okay, great. Well, there we are
Yeah.
then. There is our BlizzCon Bingo card 2023.
I love it, Tally. But what about your specific prediction?
Okay, so I'm going to actually keep my essential prediction that we made 6 months ago. Mostly so it still looks really good, if I'm right. But I feel like nothing has really come out apart from maybe some kind of like really, really fun leaks this week that kind of. But even then, I feel like we'll definitely go beyond the Western Storms. I feel like it's got to be done, right? I feel like I don't know if Khazalgar will actually be beyond the Western Storms or if it will be our base and how we get across the Western Storms.
Yeah.
But I feel like Khazalgar will be our base of the expansion. I'm going to predict that Avaloren is not the whole continent, is not the name of the continent.
Okay.
But maybe something else that happens a bit later or whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to predict that I'm really into the idea of a whole Eastern Kingdoms revamp. I don't know. I'm into it, but I'm going to stick to my original prediction, and I'm going to say that it's a new continent, which they'll bill as being like the size of an old world zone.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So instead of an Eastern Kingdoms revamp, they've made a whole new like Eastern Kingdoms basically, which is out there with like all whole different stuff. And
right.
I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that. I think like the whole Eastern Kingdoms revamp thing is really, really compelling. There's a lot of, because you've got all those new models for buildings and stuff from Elwyn Forest and
those.
What have you. You've got like boat models from Silvermoon and stuff, which of course is Eastern Kingdoms, and that would open out Silvermoon for them. Gilneas is in Eastern Kingdoms.
You've also got the whole kind of set dressing that we're seeing for BlizzCon with like the kind of
seriously,
maybe elven-looking buildings.
And it would be so fitting for the 20th anniversary next year of World of Warcraft. So I kind of think that is going to happen, but I'm going to stick to my original prediction. I'm going to be like new continent beyond the Western Storms, which, they will bill as being the size of an old world continent. Okay. Even overall, I've got a feeling it would be like dotted islands and stuff with maybe some water traverse and stuff like that. It's probably where Iridikron is going to make his base and how he is like launching his attack on the world soul, which he wants to use to bring all the Titans to Azeroth so he can kick their ass.
Wow.
Don't forget, that's Iridikron's plan. I love it. His motivation is so great. His motivation is he wants to attack the World Soul to get the Titans' attention so they come and try and save the World Soul, and he beats them up. It's like, that's literally it. It's like, my plan is I just want them to come here so I can beat them up. I just want them to just put them in front of me and I will beat them up. That's what I'll do. And I love him for that. I think that's fantastic. I think there will be new Drakthir classes. I think there will be Shaman for All. I think that's good. Definitely new support specs. I think Thrall probably will feature in the cinematic. Why not? Player housing. I feel like we're probably not there quite yet, but
maybe
they've got to be working on it.
That it is coming.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
I feel like the boat thing would really help with player housing. It'd be a good first step to it or something. Okay. Big underground. So I think Khazalgar will be based around a big underground city. There'll be bits above ground, but you'll fly underground, be really cool and
nice.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
What? Anything else you'd add to that? What are your predictions, man? I know you don't like making predictions so much, but
okay. I think the whole Avaloren kind of crossing the seas thing is a big red herring.
Wow. Okay.
So I think that will happen.
Hang on. You think we get to Avaloren on the back of a big
red herring?
Yeah. This will take us through the storms.
Yeah. No, I think so I think that's going to happen, but I think that's just like deflection and it's not going to be the most important thing.
Okay.
I think actually, having talked this through with you just now, I think the most important thing is going to be a world revamp.
You do think that's going to happen?
I actually think that's going to happen, and I think they're going to frame it because there's always got to be like a framing device, and I think it's going to be like, we went on a journey. We went on an adventure. We crossed the seas looking for something new.
Exactly what you're about to say.
What we were looking for was here all along.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, we're being taken away.
Oh, and it'll be, maybe what we were looking for was here all along. Ba, 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 ba. Oh my God, I think you're right. I think your prediction is right.
You think so?
Well, you know what? Mine was 6 months ago.
But just talking about.
No, I think
talking about it now with you.
Like that,
I would be like, ooh, like
when you put it
what
like
would
that,
give me chills?
Yeah,
that would.
Oh, that would give me chills as well. Oh damn! I think we might have just invented a better expansion than the one we're gonna get.
Impossible.
My goodness, I actually think you might be right. You might be right.
I don't think I am.
And
but
do you know
it's
what? As
fun.
long as one of us is right, I'm pretty
Exactly,
happy.
right?
So that's
This is
pretty cool.
this
That's the
is
advantage we have over the other YouTubers.
Exactly.
We get to do a pincer movement. Like if I'm wrong, I get to go, yeah, but what about her? Oh, that's
It's
really
like
cool.
it's like that riddle, like who's anyway.
No, you
So
can't.
that,
What riddle?
Can't
do that.
I've used up all of my like creative energies now. I can't even.
Well, we better go because I've got to edit this video,
Yeah.
and then we got to see our
Done.
kids before we go away for a week,
Oh,
and then
God.
we got. Do you think they'll be all right here by themselves?
Oh, they're gonna love it. Yeah. They
We're just
know
going to
what
put
do
Paw
up here.
Patrol on the
They
TV.
know how to work
leave
this-
them, leave them some bread, one of those like gerbil water bottles on the wall.
They know how the stream deck works. So like,
Want some big streams from
yeah,
you guys.
just a picture
Okay.
of like daddy's face, mummy's face.
We are at BlizzCon. Obviously, we're going to be there from Wednesday, and you know we've got like various mixes and things we're going to. But
Yeah.
we will be streaming from BlizzCon, an official featured stream from the show floor, starting at 11 a.m. So we can watch the opening ceremony with you,
Together.
react in real time. We can
With
do our
you.
bingo card, and you can go, wow, I can't believe you were so right. That's incredible. I was not expecting it.
Yeah, and then after we react, we might have something to play on stream. I don't know.
Who even knows?
I don't know.
If you are at BlizzCon, we are doing an official meet and greet type thing
Mm-hmm.
at 5:15 California time in BlizzCon.
It's going to be Hall D.
Oh, Hall D.
Appropriate.
Yeah, I always insist on the D. And we're going to be there with Preach and Fandy and Bajira and Platinum Wow.
And I think Salsa Breezy.
Oh, Salsa Breezy as well, of course.
Or you think he might be streaming at the same time?
Streaming at the same time. Right. I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
Anyway, have a look. It's on the schedule. There are going to be loads of lovely people to say hello
Bunch
to.
of cool people on there.
And
It's
then
going to
us
be really,
as
really,
well.
really cool. So come along and say hi to us there.
We're also going to have maybe a dev interview while we're there that we'll be able to share with you afterwards.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would imagine that's definitely going to happen.
There's going to be lots and lots of stuff going on.
And then, of course, we have the Weekly Reset Live on the Sunday. And if you haven't got a ticket for that, you're probably too late, in fairness.
Yeah.
They went out to our patrons as first dibs. And, I mean, we've got double the amount of people as last year. We booked a hall twice as big as last year, and it's all sold out again. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
you guys
if you
are
are coming,
amazing.
looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah.
And obviously, we will record that and we will put that as a
For
weekly reset,
everyone.
right? Exactly.
You will be able to see it.
Lots of reaction. Who even knows? Depending on what the announcements are, we might put out another video as well in
Yeah, we'll
between
see.
all that. Might do a bit of a belly laugh. Might just put out a million
Little
videos
here,
while
little
we're
there.
Yeah, exactly. Saturday's looking pretty chill for us right now. So
yeah,
we might do that. What with there being no Q&A and stuff,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, yeah. So if you are there, please come and say hello to us. It's the best thing about BlizzCon is seeing people and just chatting and stuff. And
It's been too long.
yes, we will see you there either at BlizzCon or in your house when we're on your screen talking to you like we are now. It'll be brilliant. But thank you for joining us today. If you like this video, don't thank us, thank our patrons. Give the actual real life money to make all of our work happen, including the Weekly Reset live, which thank you for making that happen. It's going to be amazing. Hopefully we'll see lots of you there. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Fandy. I might keep that one going all the way through the Q&A.
Yeah.
No, my name is Taliesin from me.
And me, Evitel.
Until next time, cheerio. I'm so excited.